This conference will now be recorded.
So good morning everyone. Good morning everyone. Am I audible?
Good morning, sir.
Okay, right. So today we'll be discussing about health system in India. Health system. So how the system is there in India, and what are the levels are there at the center level, state level, at district level, at the grassroots level. So different levels are there. So what are those levels? How the system works? How the system functions? So all these things comes under health system in India. You can see at the center level, you can see Union Ministry of Health and Family Welfare. It is the main body which will be taking care of the health of the people of the entire India. That is Union Ministry of Health and Family Welfare. So it is concerned with the health as well as the family welfare of the society. You can see the organization. It will be headed by cabinet ministers. So health minister will be the main person, central health minister, and then there will be one secretary to the health department. Is the executive head. The secretary will be there for the health minister. Secretary will be there. It has Department of Health and Department of Family Welfare. So there are two different departments are there. Number one is Department of Health is separate and Department of Family Welfare is separate. So there are two different departments at the center level. So for concerning health, there is one separate department, and for concerning family welfare, there is another department is there. So if you look at the functions of this, what they are going to, what are the functions they are going to execute? So number one is union list. So all the list will be there with them and includes international health relations and administration of port quarantine. That means all the international health. So those who are going outside the country and coming from other countries to India. So their health activities, their health status, their vaccinations and the diseases prevailing in other countries, and what are the preventive measures that we have to take when we are going out to the other countries, as well as those people who are coming to India, and what are the vaccinations they have to take, and then what are the preventive measures they have to take. All those things they are going to formulate. And administration of port quarantine. Port means it may be a seaport or a airport, wherever it may be. So the people who are coming to India, so through airways or through waterways, so they are quarantined for a certain period of time and see that whether they are having any new diseases. They will be checked for that, and the quarantine will be given for them, and after that they are allowed into our country. So this main is international health relations and the port quarantine. It will be a sea, water, waterways, or people may come through waterways or through whatever it may be, port or airport. So they will be quarantined, checked whether or not, or vaccines they have received proper way or not, whether they are having any diseases. All those things will be checked at the seaport and airport, and after the quarantine only they will be allowed to enter into the country. So that is a major function they are going to look after. That is international health relations as well as port quarantine. Then administration of central institutes. So not only port quarantine and international health relations, though they are mainly concerned with central institutes like AIIMS, AFMC, Pune, JIPMER. There are so many institutions which they have established in India. So all this administration, all the are located in India. It may be AIIMS, PGI Chandigarh is there, JIPMER is there, AFMC Pune is there. There are so many central institutes are there. So all this will be controlled by them. And then promotion of research. So the main activity is they will promote the research. So you can see we are having ICMR in India, which is promoting research in all the aspects. So for everything, suppose if you take nutrition, we are having National Institute of Nutrition at Hyderabad, right? For every disease, non-communicable diseases at Bangalore. So many places we are having Apex centers where the research is going on, in-depth research is going on. So it promotes the research, not only in central institutes, it is having some specific bodies for each and every disease, and it is promoting the research in India. Regulation and development of medical and paramedical professions. So what are the rules and regulations, medical as well as paramedical staff, they have to follow all these regulations. Rules and regulations will be framed by this Union Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, and this not only for doctors, also it is also for paramedical courses, like lab technicians or some other technicians, so which are related to the medical, this one, and medicine, medical people. So they regulate the rules, they frame the rules and regulations for each and every department, and these rules and regulations they have to strictly follow in India, and then they maintain the drug standards. So for we cannot prepare our own drugs and sell into the society. So they will give some guidelines. According to that, you have to manufacture the drugs, and you have to maintain the quality of the quality of the drug, as well as standards of the drug you have to maintain, and they have to certify. Finally, what they have to do is they will certify that this drug is as per the Indian standards, so it can be used. Like that, they will give the certification. Then only you have to you can distribute the drugs in the society, or you can sell the drugs in the society. So drug standards also they will maintain. So these are the some of the functions of Ministry of Health and Family Welfare. Main one is international health regulations, health relations, and then port quarantine, administration of central institutions. So central institutions administration is there in their hands, and then they will promote research, regulation and development of medical and paramedical professions. So rules and regulations will be designed for the medical courses as well as paramedical courses and professions. So they have to follow the guidelines strictly, and they will maintain the drug standards. So drugs, whatever the standards they will do, according to that standards only you have to manufacture the drugs, and those drugs which are certified by them only will be circulated in the country. If you look at the other functions, concurrent list, so prevention of spread of communicable diseases. So especially they will formulate the guidelines for the control of communicable diseases. Yeah, so you can see right now Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, if you go through the website, so on corona they are giving different guidelines for prevention and control. So every time, whatever, it may be a new disease or an old disease, so they will frame the guidelines, and that guidelines the entire country has to follow thoroughly, strictly, right? So similarly for all the communicable diseases, not only for corona. Right now corona is pandemic, so they are giving guidelines for that also, for the spread and control of for the prevention of spread of corona, guidelines are given. And similarly to all the communicable diseases, they will frame the guidelines. As per that guidelines, we have to follow it. Prevention of adulteration of foodstuffs. So adulteration of foodstuffs is also very dangerous. So it will have impact on the health of the society. That's why, so they will take care of, suppose if any adulteration goes on, so if it comes to their notice, they will take very stringent action on those people. So that's why prevention of adulteration of foodstuffs is also in their hands. Population control and family planning. So how to control the population, because India is having huge population and we want to reduce it. So new different types of IUDs, birth control pills, as well as different methods like vasectomy, tubectomy, new things they are introducing into the society, and new family planning methods they are bringing into the program, so that they want to effectively control the growth of the population. Control of drugs. So already told you that drug control is under their control only. So they, as per their standards, we have to manufacture the drugs. The companies have to manufacture the drugs and distribute them in the society, as well as vital statistics. So births, deaths, migration, marriages, all these things will be recorded, and they will observe the vital statistics, how it is going on. So number of births, number of deaths, marriages, so any migrations, everything will be noted by them. So vital statistics also they will maintain. That is also one of the function of the central government. So the main concurrent list is that prevention of spread of communicable diseases. So how to prevent the spread of communicable diseases in the society, they will frame the guidelines, and that guidelines we have to follow thoroughly. And adulteration of foods. So anybody doing adulteration of foods will strictly be monitored and they will be prosecuted as per the guidelines. And they control the population and family planning measures. So they are bringing out a new things into the family planning program so that people can accept it. People can accept it, and so that by directly or indirectly we can control the growth of the population. And then control of drugs. So drug control is in their hands only. So they will give the guidelines for each and every drug. They will give the standard guidelines. The companies has to manufacture the drugs as per the guidelines given by the central government, and they have to distribute in the society. And then vital statistics you can see. So maintenance of births, deaths, migration, marriages, divorce, everything will be recorded, and they will maintain the vital statistics of the entire India. See, at the central level, there are different departments are there. Like you can see, Directorate General of Health Services is the principal advisor to union government. So DGHS, Director General of Health Services. So it is the main thing. It is the main body which is primarily responsible, and it acts as the advisor to the union government. It comprises medical care and hospitals, public health and general administration units. So this Directorate General of Health Services, DGHS, Director General of Health Services. This body constitutes of medical care will come under this, hospitals, all the majority of the teaching hospitals, public health hospitals, public health hospitals, and general administration units will come under this Directorate General of Health Services. Then what are the functions of this DGCHS? So this is the most important short notes you will be getting in your examination. Several times it came in your examination. Functions of Director General of Health Services. You can see general is surveys, planning, coordination, etc. of all the health matters. So they are mainly involved in surveys. So all the surveys, suppose nowadays Corona is going on, so they will do the zero surveillance. So prevalence of Corona in entire India, and then preventive measures. What are the preventive measures? Whether effectively people are following or not. Awareness camps and the planning. So how to control it? What are the control measures they have to take? And then coordination with all the state governments. So it will coordinate with all the state governments for prevention and control of Corona. So for all the diseases, not only Corona, but for all the communicable as well as non-communicable diseases, it will be coordinating, and it will be doing surveys on all the diseases, different types of diseases in India. So it will be doing surveys, health survey, and then planning. So how to control all the different types of diseases, how much budget is needed, everything they are going to plan, and they are going to do the coordination with all the state governments. So whatever the results they are getting, and how to control the different types of diseases. So they will coordinate with all the diseases, with all the state heads, so that they can effectively implement the preventive measures in their respective states. So coordination is also one of the important function of this Director General of Health Services. So number one is surveys on all different types of diseases, planning. So how to control communicable as well as non-communicable diseases, they will plan. And then coordination, so coordinate with all the heads of the states so that they can effectively control the disease in their specific states. And the specific functions of this Director General of Health Services is international health relations and quarantine. So international health relations. So what are the new diseases that are occurring in the different countries? How they are affected, and what are the preventive measures they are taking, and what are the vaccines available to that. So every time it will be in contact with all the agencies, international health agencies, and they will be discussing with it. And the people who are going to other countries, what are the vaccines they have to take, and people who are coming to India, what are the vaccines they have to take, and what are the preventive measures they have to take. Every year, time to time, they will be updating the international health relations and quarantine. So what are the quarantine measures should be taken? All those things they will be regulating time to time. Control of drug standards, already told you. So drug standards are within their hands. So as per the standards, the companies has to manufacture the drugs, and they have to provide to all the people as per the standards of Indian government. Medical store reports. So they will in India, different places, medical store reports are there where they are going to store the drugs, and that drugs will be distributed to all the people who are in need, right? And then postgraduate training. So you can see PGI PGI Chandigarh, AFMC Pune, JIPMER Pondicherry, AIIMS. So there are so many postgraduate training institutions are there. So they are started by this Director General of Health Services. So they will provide the funds, they will provide the standards, guidelines. So as per the standards, they have to train the people, they have to train the doctors who are doing post graduation. And then medical education. So there are a lot of medical central medical institutes are there. Those are under the control of Director General of Health Services. Medical research. So they promote medical research, and then central government health schemes. You can see CGHS scheme, central government health scheme. So all the people who are working in the central government, they are given health insurances, so they can utilize the health insurance services at different hospitals in entire India. Even in our hospital also, there is a separate wing is there. Central government health scheme separate block is there, where the central government people will get all the healthcare facilities, and they will look after the national health programs. So for national health program also, they will do the funding, they will do the guidelines, they will give the guidelines. They technically they will support in all the aspects for running the national programs. Central Health Education Bureau, they are having a bureau that is called as Central Health Education Bureau. So through this bureau, they will monitor the standards of the education, monitor the standard of medical education in India. And if at all any problem is there, they will give the guidelines. As per their guidelines, you have to follow. And health intelligence services. That means they will be doing surveillance activities. So when new diseases are occurring, where it is occurring, what is the reasons for that, and how to overcome that, how to prevent that, all those things. So they will do continuous surveillance on all the different types of diseases. Surveillance activities, health intelligence services, that is called as health intelligence services. That means surveillance activities on all the diseases. It may be communicable disease or non-communicable disease. So they will do surveillance activities, and surveillance is nothing but continuous monitoring of the diseases, continuous monitoring of the risk factors or the factors which causes the diseases. They are going to monitor them, and they will study the factors and try to prevent them. That is the health intelligence services. And then National Medical Library. So they will maintain NML, that is National Medical Library. So you will get a lot of resources, lot of health information from this National Medical Library. So whenever you want any information about the latest guidelines for corona, or latest treatment guidelines for corona, or social distancing guidelines for corona, you will get it at NML. So National Medical Library, different types of diseases. Whatever health information you want, you just go through the National Medical Library. Information will be sufficient information will be available in the National Medical Library. So these are the specific functions, like you can see international health regulations and quarantine, control of drug standards, postgraduate training, undergraduate training, promotion of research, central government health schemes, national health programs, central health education bureau, health intelligence, National Medical Library. So these are all the specific functions of Director General of Health Services. So definitely we get the question on this. Director General, DGHS, Director General of Health Services, functions of Director General of Health Services. So you have to mention all these things. At the center, you can see Central Council of Health is there. There is another body, there is organization. Large number of health subjects fall in the concurrent list, which includes continuous consultation and cooperation between the center and the states. Union Health Minister is the chairman. So it is the Central Council of Health will be there, where you will get all the states will come under this. So the states and the central government will be in consultation and cooperation between the center and the states. They will so the state people will bring their problems to the notice of the center, and the center will form the guidelines. So that is mutual cooperation will be there between the states and the central. And the union health minister is the chairman for this body, that is Central Council of Health. What are the functions of this Central Council of Health? So number one is to recommend board outlines of policy in regard to health aspects. So this what happens means they will get all the information from all the states, and based on their different problems, they will guideline the policies for entire India. So they will recommend. So they recommend the broad outlines of policy in regard to health aspects, because they are getting the information from different states. What are the health problems they are facing in their particular state? So they will inform to the central government. So this Central Council of Health, so they will broadly outline the policy guidelines to make proposals for legislation. So what they will do is they will make the policy, and they will make the proposals, and that proposals they will send it to the Parliament committee. In that it will be accepted and the legislation will be formed to recommend central government regarding the distribution of grants in aid between the states. And also what you need is, depending upon your health scenario in the particular state, they need specific types of funds so that they can solve their health problems. So you can represent whatever the problems you are having. You can represent your problems, how much grant is needed or how much funds is needed to solve that problem. You can represent it to the central government. So central government will discuss on it, frame the guidelines on it, and then they will see that how much funds can be allocated to each and every state for solving their health problems. So to recommend central government, so this Central Council of Health will recommend to the central government regarding the distribution. So how much grants must be given, between the states. To establish any organization for promoting the cooperation between center and states. So it is an organization which will tries to cooperate between the states and the center. So directly you cannot submit your report to the cabinet. So it is not possible. So that's what they have done is, whatever problems you are having in your state regarding health problems, you specify it. You notify them to the Central Council of Health, and they will study all the problems and they will prioritize the problems to the central government, and that policy will be given to the central government, and that central government will discuss in the cabinet meeting, and they will do the legislation, and based on that you will get the states will get the funds for the solving of the health problems. When you come at the state level, now we completed the central level. Now when we come back to the state level, we are having State Ministry of Health, State Health Directorate. There are two different bodies are there in the state. That is State Ministry of Health, that is the one body. State Health Directorate, that is another body. At the district level, administrative areas are there, subdivisions are there, tehsils are there, community development block is there, municipalities and corporation, villages are there, panchayats are there. So if you take the district as a unit, in district there are different administrative areas are there. You can say subdivisions, tehsils are there, then community development block, municipalities and corporation, villages and panchayats. You can see the Panchayat Raj is a three-type structure of rural local self-government in India. So you can see Panchayat, that is at the village level, Panchayat Samiti at the block level, Jilla Parishad at the district level. So I think you are familiar with this. At the village level, there is Panchayat Raj, Panchayat. At the block level, that is Panchayat Samiti at the block level. At the district level, that is Jilla Parishad. So for every village, there is Panchayat. For every 100 villages, it is called as block level. That is Panchayat Samiti is there. For every single village, Panchayat is there. For every 100 villages, it is called as one block. Every 100 villages, it is called as one block. So for one block level, there is Panchayat Samiti is there. For the entire district, Jilla Parishad is there. For the entire district, Jilla Parishad is there. They are the agencies of public welfare established to ensure more effective and better participation of the people in the governance. So whatever the problems are there in the village, they will represent to the Panchayat, and the Panchayat Sarpanch will be there, or in some villages they call it as President or Sarpanch. So he is going to solve. He is going to solve the problems, or he will represent the problems to the Panchayat Samiti. He will represent to the higher level. So Panchayat Samiti to Jilla Parishad. So like that it will go. So from village to block level, block to district level, the problems will go, and the Jilla Parishad will it is the governing body. So it will give the funds so that at the Panchayat Samiti level as well as the Panchayat level, all the problems will be solved. So for a single village, Panchayat will be there. For 100 villages, it is called as block level. Panchayat Samiti will be there. And for the entire district, Jilla Parishad will be there. They are the agencies of public welfare established to ensure more effective and better participation of the people in the governance. So the people can represent their problems to their respective panchayats or panchayat samiti or to the Jilla Parishad. So in that they will discuss about the problems and they will try to solve the problems of the people. So at the village level, there is Gram Sabha, assembly of all adults. If you look at the village level only, there is a Gram Sabha where it is a combination of all adults. That is Gram Sabha. Gram Panchayat is there, executive organ of the Gram Sabha, agency for planning and development. So all the adults they will form Gram Sabha and they will discuss about the problems in the village and they will represent those problems to the Gram Panchayat and they will take the decision over it for solving the problems of the village. And then there is Naya Panchayat is there. There is also one of the types of Gram Panchayat. If you look at the block level, the prime function of Panchayat Samiti is the execution of the community development programs. It provides technical assistance to village panchayats. So at the main thing is at the block level. I told you for 100 villages there will be one block level. So the main function of this Panchayat Samiti is execution of community development programs. So whatever the programs at the district level will be taken up, those programs will be executed properly in all the villages under this block level. So block level Panchayat Samiti will see that all the programs which are taken up at the district level will be properly implemented in all the villages. And it gives the technical assistance to village panchayats. So it gives technical assistance, how to perform that program, how to take care, and what are the technical aspects involved in that program, all will be explained to them so that the program runs on smoothly in each and every village. So at the district level, we are having Jilla Parishad is the primary supervisor and coordinating body. So at the district level, what we are having is the Jilla Parishad is primarily supervisory and coordinating body. So Jilla Parishad is the main one. So for every district there is one Jilla Parishad. Jilla Parishad chairman will be there. Jilla Parishad chairman will be there. So he will be the supervisory and coordinating body. So he will be coordinating at the block level as well as the village level. So whether the programs are functioning effectively or not, whether they are getting the funds properly or not, whether the technical assistance was given properly to all the block levels as well as the village level or not. So all these things they are going to supervise, whether the funds are reaching to the grassroots level or not, whether the programs are running successfully or not. So everything will be monitored as well as supervised by the Jilla Parishad chairman. Is a coordinating body and supervisory body. And there is another department that is called as rural development. Another department that is called as rural development, that is community development. So it will look after different rural development programs. So this is also important question for you. So you will be getting as a short notes rural development programs. So launched on 2nd October 1952 for all-round development of rural areas. So especially for rural areas because they don't have the proper healthcare services, they don't have the proper they don't have the proper skills. They don't have proper essential services. Emergency services will not be there. Essential services will not be there, and proper skills will not be there. And they don't have job facilities at the rural level. So that's why they have taken up rural development programs. That's why they have taken up community development, community rural development programs. It is a program of the people, for the people, by the people to exterminate 3 illnesses of poverty, disease, and illiteracy. So these community development programs, the government of India has taken up these community development programs to terminate 3 illnesses, that is poverty. So in rural areas, majority are poor because they don't have the proper job facilities, proper essential services, proper emergency services. So that's why they will be living in the poverty. Disease, so they will be having different types of diseases. because of lack of awareness or ignorance and illiteracy. So to remove these three to remove these three illnesses, that is poverty, disease and illiteracy. So central government has taken up a program that is called as community development programs. So multi-purpose program covering agriculture, education and health. So all these community development programs are multitask. That is, it covers agriculture, education, and health. It covers all the three components, that is agriculture, education, and health. Number one is IRDP, Integrated Rural Development Programs. Integrated Rural Development Programs, that is to attack poverty and improve the quality of life. Integrated Rural Development Program. So to attack poverty and to improve the quality of life. So what they want to do is to reduce the poverty of the people and to improve the quality of life of the people, those who are living in rural areas. From 9th plan onwards, 9th 5-year plan onwards, strategic shift from individual approach to self help groups formation. So they have, what they have made is, so if you give individually some amount, they are utilizing that for their specific needs at once, and after that again they are in the poverty only. That's why what they have done is they have made a group of people and they are giving some amount to that group and asking them to go for certain business or certain skill based activity so that they can generate money on that. That is self help group. So self formation. So individual approach to self help group. That means individually, if you give some using that amount for their self, some amount they are utilizing for their utilization purpose. So at once, and after that again they are living in the. They made a group of people, and for them they are giving effective loan like they can, and they can earn their livelihood on their own. Different programs are there. Number one is TRISEM. So these are very important programs. You have to be thorough with them. TRISEM, training of rural youth for self-employment. Number one is TRISEM, so self-help group formation, and they named it as TRISEM, that is training of rural youth for self-employment. Second one is Sitara, supply of improved toolkits to rural artisans. So those who are interested in different types of activities, for them they are giving a improved toolkits. If they are having toolkits, they can make whatever they want. Some may make some toys and they can sell. So if they are having toolkits properly, so they may be having skills, so they can manufacture different types of toys or different things they can manufacture. They can start their own business, so they can earn their livelihood by themselves. So they can so that they cannot depend on others. So they can improve their quality of life, they can improve their earning, they can come out of their poverty, and they can improve their quality of life. So that's why Government of India started a different program that is called as training of rural youth for self-employment. Different self-employment programs, different self-employment programs in different areas they are giving, and they are giving toolkits. Those who are interested in manufacturing, so they can manufacture toys, or they can manufacture matches, whatever they are interested. They are interested in agarbatti making, they can do agarbattis, or they can do matchsticks. They can go for papad making, or they can go for toys. So many things, whatever their interest is there, they can go. So if they are some are interested in stitching, they can learn stitching, and they can go for, they can buy machines and they can start stitching. And then there is DWACRA, development of women, rural areas, development of women of rural areas. It is most important one. And how you are going to evaluation of health services. You can see, determine what is to be evaluated. So how the health services are evaluated. Number one is, for any health services you need a structure. You need a structure. Structure means what are the facilities are available there, manpower, material, how much manpower is there, how much material is there, infrastructure is there. So that is the evaluation of the structure and evaluation of the process. So what is the process going on, and evaluation of the outcome. So outcome, how much outcome they are giving. So establish standards and criteria to determine how well the desired objectives have been attained with the focus on structural criteria. Example, physical facilities. That is structure evaluation means physical facilities. What are they in that particular health center? You have to notify. Process criteria. Every prenatal mothers must receive 6 checkups. So you take one antenatal mother. So antenatal mother must get at least 6 checkups, whether they are getting or not. Infrastructure is there, manpower is there. If the antenatals are not, they don't know that antenatal checkups can be taken up at the health center. So it is of no use. If the mothers comes to if the antenatals comes to the hospital and they undergo checking for 6, if they receive 6 checkups, then you can say that the process indicators or process criteria is going on smoothly or effectively. And then outcome criteria, alterations in patient health status. Alteration in patient health status. Suppose if you want to say that the outcome is good, there must be change in the health status of the people in that particular health center area, then you can say that outcome criteria is good. Plan the methodology to be applied. A format must be prepared for gathering information. So for any health survey or evaluation, you need a pro forma. You have to plan according to that beforehand, and then gather information. You have to gather the information: political, cultural, economical, environmental factors influencing health. So different from different areas, maybe political, different cultural areas, economical areas, environmental factors influencing health. All these things you have to gather the information. Analysis the result within the shortest time period possible. You are collecting the information. You have to analyze the information properly and see what will be the outcome. And so based on that, you have to take the action. That is shifting priorities, revising objectives, or development of new programs. So based on the outcome, based on the feedback from the people, you try to modify your programs, modify your process indicator, or modify your structure, and see that your priorities can be shifted, or you can modify your objectives or development of new programs, and then re-evaluate. That is, evaluation is an ongoing process aimed at rendering health activities more relevant, more efficient, more effective. That means whatever your services must be the felt needs of the society. That's the main thing what I mean to say. Whatever program you take up, before starting the program, go into the community and find out their health felt needs of the people. If you start your health service on the felt health needs of the people will automatically come to your health services and utilize your service. If your health service is different and people needs are different, they don't come to your hospital. Suppose if you establish a big nursing home with all facilities in a rural area, people at the rural area needs first aid, prevention and control. Prevention of communicable diseases, first aid treatment is enough. If we establish a super specialty hospital at the rural area, who will come to you? Nobody will come. People will not come. People needs family planning, methods, birth control pills, IUDs, minimum communicable vaccinations, immunization, safe drinking water. So they need this sort of services at the primary level. If you provide super specialty services at the primary level, maybe 1 or 2 people will come and utilize your service. So majority will not come to you. So that's why you have to. That's why you must know the needs of the society before starting your health services. If you know the health needs of the people, based on the health needs, you try to establish your health services so that people will come forward and utilize your services, and your program or your service will become. And then relevance, appropriateness of the service. So that's what I am saying. So it's the health needs of the society, people will accept this.
మళ్ళీ పెట్టాలి.
వాళ్ళు పెట్టాలా?
Who is that? So I am stopping here. Then just I will call the numbers. You just tell me. Roll number 3. Please give your attendance. Just I will call the number.
Sir, number 3.
Roll number 3.
Present, sir. 3 present,
Yes,
sir.
Saket.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Roll number 9. Roll number 9.
Sir, 9 present, sir.
Durga Bhavani.
9 present, sir.
Durga Bhavani.
9 present, sir. Sir, 9 present, sir.
Okay, okay, 9 present. Then 52. 52. Okay. 100.
100 present, sir.
105.
105 present, sir.
Isha Reddy.
Yes, sir.
Okay. 132.
Present, sir. Present, sir.
Tejashwini.
Yes, sir.
142. 142. Okay, I am accepting that all are present. Thank you.